Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really powerful framework that's all about how to build a career that doesn't just last, but one you can actually thrive in. We're going to break down how you can find real, genuine fulfillment in high-pressure fields by looking at this idea of the sustained scholar.
But first, let me ask you something. Does your job, your professional life, ever feel like a complete emotional roller coaster? One minute you're flying high from a big success, and the next you're just crushed by a rejection or a setback. If that sounds at all familiar, you're definitely not alone, and there is a way to get off that ride.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by looking at what makes modern work a pressure cooker. Then we'll talk about finding your North Star to guide you. After that, we'll get into how to anchor your craft, explore 6 key pillars of fulfillment, and finally, make that crucial shift from just being a performer to becoming a true craftsman.
All right, first up, the pressure cooker. Let's take a closer look at this intense, numbers-driven world that so many of us are working in today, whether you're in academia, business, or really any high-stakes profession. In so many of these fields, success gets boiled down to a really rigid set of external numbers. We're talking about things like journal rankings, accreditation scores, national rankings, impact factors, citation counts. The list just goes on and on. And pretty soon, these metrics become the stand-in for your actual value, creating this relentless pressure to measure up. And this obsession with measurement leads to a huge problem, one the source material calls the research paradox. And it's a really dangerous trap, right? It's when our sense of who we are professionally gets completely tangled up with these fluctuating outcomes, things we can't always control, like whether a paper gets published or a project gets funded. The result of living in that paradox, you get this feeling of emotional whiplash. One success makes you feel incredible, but it also creates this intense pressure to do it all over again. And then one failure, one rejection, can send you into a spiral, making you question your own abilities. It's just a totally unsustainable way to build a long-term career.
So, okay, that's the problem. How do we get out of this cycle? Well, we need a new way of thinking, a guiding principle, a North Star, to navigate. And that is exactly what the equidistance framework is all about.
At its core, equidistance is the disciplined practice of staying centered. It means you don't let the incredible highs of success make you arrogant, and you don't let the crushing lows of failure define you. And this isn't some passive, feel-good idea. It's a strategic necessity to protect your intellectual focus and your sanity.
And this slide really breaks down the forces that are always trying to pull you off that center. On the one side, you've got the pull of success. This is that pressure of the encore, or feeling trapped by what worked before. And on the other side, you've got the pull of failure, which can lead to a despair spiral or that nagging feeling of imposter syndrome. Equidistance is about actively resisting both of these pulls.
So here it is. This is the crucial point. When you practice equidistance, outcomes get totally reframed. A rejection isn't a verdict on your worth anymore. A huge success isn't proof that you're a genius. They just become data points, simple, valuable feedback on a very, very long journey.
Okay, so once you have that centered mindset in place, you can start to make the next big shift. And that's moving your focus away from chasing outside approval and toward building a stable internal anchor that's based on your craft.
This is a real game changer. It means you stop seeing your work as a series of high-stakes performances for gatekeepers, like your boss or reviewers or clients. Instead, you start treating what you do as a craft, something you show up for and practice every single day just for the sake of getting better at it.
And this internal anchor? It's built on 3 key components that basically give the power back to you. You've got emotional resilience, so feedback becomes a tool, not a weapon. Then there's skill compoundment, the amazing idea that your skills grow and build on each other over time. And finally, intellectual autonomy, where you define what quality work looks like, not somebody else.
And this chart illustrates perfectly why that shift is so powerful. Look, an outcome, like a single publication shown in that first bar. It has a fixed, one-time value, but your skills, your ability to think, to create, to analyze, as you see in that second bar, that value just keeps compounding and rising over your entire career. And the best part? It belongs 100% to you.
All right, so we've got the mindset and we've got the internal anchor. But how do we make this real? Let's get practical and look at the 6 daily habits that can turn this entire philosophy into a fulfilling, sustainable career. Think of these 6 pillars as your daily toolkit. The first 3 are really about your character.
Scholarly humility, which is about focusing on your contribution, not just applause. Measured speech, which means building respect by listening more than you talk. And lifelong learning, to stay curious. The other three are about your strategy. Generous mentorship, to build a legacy. Institutional lightness, which is about finding humor to protect your sanity. And finally, strategic self-regulation, learning to ignore the noise and protect your time and energy.
And for our final section, let's talk about a hidden danger on this path. It's something that often happens right after you achieve a major success, and it's called the paralysis of expectation.
I mean, it's so ironic, isn't it? You get this massive win, and instead of feeling liberated, you suddenly feel this immense pressure to do it again, to stay at that top level. And that pressure can actually make you afraid to take risks. It can make you avoid the exact kind of bold thinking that got you that success in the first place.
So to fight this paralysis, the framework gives us 4 key commands to live by. First, remember, metrics are just instruments. They are not your masters. Second, maintain that emotional symmetry for both wins and losses. Third, always prioritize depth and genuine curiosity over just trying to position yourself. And maybe most important of all, embrace intellectual risk, especially right after a big win.
Because, when you boil it all down, that's what this is about. It's about evolving from an identity that's based on results to one that's based on your craft. Your true North Star isn't some external verdict from a journal or a boss. It's the enduring integrity and quality of your contribution.
So we'll leave you with this one final thought to mull over. Are you spending your career putting on a series of disconnected performances for an audience? Or are you dedicating yourself to building a single, cohesive, and deeply fulfilling lifelong craft? The choice really is yours.